Welcome to the number one Bengals podcast.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Dadio McDuke.
Yeah.
I'm joined as always by Dr. Hodgie the Electric Smoji
Yes.
and John Ella Fitzgerald Sheeran.
Oh,
I
yeah.
ran out of male crooners, yeah, but she's great voice. Like
Yes.
Look, guys, introduction. First of all, before we get to anything, because we have a lot to get to, I want to mention Brinks.tv, because you shouldn't be watching on here. You should be watching there,
Yes.
where it is a full body experience. It is it's a very different. I don't even know.
Hopefully it's not smell-o-vision.
Well, I think it is that, and I don't even know.
I was
Courtney,
not
if
prepared.
a lot of the sensations it produces are legal or not, but they're going with it anyways, and they have some great programming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I look at this, hold on here, and you look at their most recent podcast, it is called Killing Freedom
Wait
with
a
Bill
minute.
O'Reilly, who
Uh-oh.
obviously he had a number
This
of
sounds
different,
false.
killing Patton, Kennedy, the mob,
No.
and Crazy Horse, and now
Uh-oh.
Freedom. He's talking about the last year and a half, the
Wait a
country's
minute.
history. When the
I think you fell asleep with the TV on
Yeah.
the wrong channel.
Yeah, this is Dadio in Wonderland here. Might I add, a sort of neo-conservative Wonderland.
Well, okay, look, but this one is real. They have the Ray Lewis show. It is with the real Ray Lewis, and it is a real show, and they have real guests. And one of their most recent guests was, hold on, Kaylee McEnany, who obviously was the champion of propaganda very recently. And
Enemy make enemy.
and look, this show, the Ray Lewis show, is about.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to this Kaylee McEnemy, because what are you talking about?
It is about, the show is about barbarity, vulgarity, and the championship mentality.
Nope.
And so for those reasons, they have
So
some-
close, Dadio. So close.
Is he?
Look,
Well, he got 1 out of 3. Isn't that progress?
championship mentality. Yes. No, it's a great show. Go watch the show. Last week, Ray had a little too much for Thanksgiving. He couldn't do the show. But in general, he has great guests, former NFL players and coaches, a lot of great people. But I want to ask you guys how you're doing after watching the Bengals have probably their best win in history.
Yeah.
And it was the worst
Really?
loss in the Steelers' history.
It's weird now. The Steelers are consistently losing to us. This is a dream come true. And it started when we weren't even very good. That's the beauty of it. It's like now we kind of always beat the Steelers. I really like this. This is a trend I could live with.
Right.
You know,
it
the part
started when
that
it started when both teams were not very good, because the Steelers haven't been good in a couple years now.
Right.
Now they're really not good.
they're really not good. But now let's say this. Let's give the Bengals credit, because I watch this show even when I'm not on it and I'm traveling the world doing all kinds of things for the environment. I do watch your show. I am a fan. And I agreed with you, John, where you were a little bit worried about TJ Watt. A lot of people were. Other podcasts, people were talking about the old TJ Watt and what they're going to do about TJ Watt. Everybody's worried about TJ Watt. And I thought the beauty of that game really came out when you saw TJ Watt pick up Joe Burrow and really begin to kind of strangle him. And what I saw in TJ Watt's face was frustration, was I cannot get through this line. I cannot get to you. They are stopping me. And that made me proud. That was the act of a very frustrated man. And then he throws an interception. And what do we do right after we get an interception? This is a team that won't go down. But my question is, so is the offensive line good now? Because if you could stop TJ Watt, wasn't that our problem, the edge rushing?
I mean,
have we solved the problem?
I think the offensive line had an outstanding game, John. I mean, you talked about on the last show, the post-game show, how they were moving people, getting Mixon those nights. But Mixon, had a great game himself, right?
Oh, yeah.
After the first hit and all that. But the pass blocking, it wasn't perfect, but I never felt like Joe Burrow is in trouble. And from the beginning of the year, all we ever heard was, how are they going to handle the Pittsburgh D-line?
John,
I mean,
O-line
You didn't-
assessment?
you didn't really feel that way against the Browns a couple weeks ago, right?
No, I
He was
didn't.
under
I
he was
didn't.
under duress a lot because
Yes.
they didn't have a high-powered running game to rely on. They didn't get consistent push in the run game against the Browns' offensive line. It's far from over. Like they still have to play the Browns again. Their defensive line still just as dangerous. They did a great job handling T.J. Watt. They used C.J. Uzoma and Drew Sample to chip him off the line, help out Riley Reiff at right tackle. And I think the fact that they were so dominant with the run game and they didn't have Joe Burrow dropping back and being under pressure as much, I think that definitely helped.
Okay, so here's the question for you. This is a team that has looked amazing against the Ravens and the Steelers and really good against the Raiders and the Packers. Why the Browns? The Browns are not that good.
We talked about this.
What?
It was a bad
but
matchup.
explain.
It was a bad
No,
matchup.
but is that going to happen again?
No,
Hodgie
it's
needs
not.
to know.
It's not.
The heart
Look,
must
The Browns
know.
game and the Bears game were the two games where Burrow tried to do too much and
John,
it backfired.
agreed?
He's never going to do it again.
Joe Burrow didn't
never
play
going to do
defense
that.
against the Browns.
John, you are distracting.
Are the
from
Browns that good, John?
positivity.
They're not good, but they are matched up really well with the Bengals. It's not like they're void of talent. They just have a bad quarterback right now who's injured.
Yeah. So
Right.
look, here's the thing.
Okay.
We are rolling. And
Roll
we
it.
have a matchup against the Chargers.
The
coming up.
Chargers.
And in preparation of that, I want to bring in
Yes.
the man,
I have been waiting for
the
this man.
host of the Believe in the Chargers show, along with Lorenzo Neal.
I
former
charge my
Bengals-
car every night.
Former Bengal fullback Lorenzo Neal, who, yes, and Fernando Ramierz is the other host, and he is here with us today. Hello,
Welcome.
Fernando. How are
Fernando,
you?
it's great to have you.
Hey guys, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I'm excited to do this and to be on. Now, were you saying Joe Mixon or were you saying Nixon? Because the way this show started, I was wondering where you were
Wow.
going with it.
You are quick on the trigger. You have picked up on the subtle
guy
undertones. Yes, you picked up on the staunchy,
Both have
fermenting.
a special place in my heart. But so
Fernando, did you know that my middle name is The Electric and you are believing the Chargers? We both love electricity.
Oh, look at
how
that.
do you know they don't mean charging people money, which would
Oh, that's
be
true.
my middle name?
MasterCard. Yeah, okay.
But look, so Fernando, you host the show with Lorenzo Neal, who he was supposed to be on the show, but he could be on the show. We could
might
see
come on the show.
He might come on the show. It depends on if, because I think he came and he had all of a sudden he had a stomach pains once he saw the show.
Yeah, it
had to
happens
leave.
to a lot of people.
Lot of
We have a
people,
special-
They
we
run
have a spe-
away. They
yeah.
run away. They're holding their backside and just run straight to the bathroom when they see the show.
There is you read the fine print. This show can cause diarrhea and constipation at the same time.
So you're telling me after this show, I'm gonna have to run to the bathroom?
Maybe during.
Depends on how strong your stomach is. Yes, but Lorenzo, we hope he's fine and we hope he can be on the show because it's going to be great for ratings, and we want to see him too. But Lorenzo, very impressive man, 4-time Pro Bowler. He blocked for I think 11 1,000-yard rushers, including Corey Dillon in 2001.
Wow.
This man was so big, 5'11", 735 pounds, that I could
Wait a
get
minute,
1,000
wait a minute.
yards running behind him.
Hold on, wait,
You
wait,
just listed Hodgie's weight.
Yeah. Come on, man. Come
I
on,
got
man.
that
What are you
from,
talking about?
from Wikipedia. But I could literally run behind him and get 1,000 yards. That is how big this man was. And how
You
quick he was.
literally can't run.
Well, he played like he weighed 700 pounds. I mean, how big he was and how he was able to
You
open
guys-
up those holes. So you're not not wrong.
See that? But no. But let's talk about you. And you are the writer for Sports Illustrated. I read your bio. Deion Sanders. He is jealous of your hairline.
Wow.
And
As am I.
And this guy, I mean, he's a superstar, Fernando. So tell us about what you do and where you do it. And how much
Not
you
a
charge.
not a superstar. I appreciate that though. I appreciate the intro. I've been around the Chargers organization since 2013. Before I did internships, working around on their Spanish radio broadcast team, helping with post game interviews, and slowly but surely working my way up and and living the American dream, honestly, right now, getting to cover the team, writing stories about them, following them on a daily basis. So it's a pretty fun atmosphere, especially with some of the guys that they have on the team, Derwin James, Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa. So it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah,
All that work just to be interviewed by two puppets, you know.
Yeah.
No. That's no. I'm the puppet. They're the masters of this.
Wow.
Oh, thank you so much.
But you talk about the energy of the team and all the excitement. And I'll be honest. So I went to the Chargers Bengals game, 2018, I think. Jeff Driscoll was the quarterback. And in anticipation of the big stadium and all the energy and all the noise, I maybe, I kind of ate everything on the menu at Taco Bell. I was thinking no one's going to ever detect anything
because of the noise.
They want, and so I go there, and I'll just say it's one of the most embarrassing days of my life. That stadium was way too quiet for what.
Yeah, he thought he had like a fart buffer, but he didn't.
Oh, you're talking about at
in Carson.
He was
in Carson.
At Carson, yeah, no, that's a soccer stadium. Yeah, that's a soccer stadium. Besides, we got to get you on better stuff. Taco Bell, go to a taco shop. Like it's all about burritos out here.
They're too
That would
expensive.
require
There's
to spend
actually-
money.
It's not. Yeah, but hey,
There's a very good one,
You show up
actually.
like that, they're gonna hook it up for you. Don't worry about that.
He sticks to the dollar menu.
Have you? Oh well.
But I guess what I'm saying, Lorenzo or Fernando, I'm sorry, is that is
Lorenzo wish he was this handsome.
That's true.
I like your style. I like your style.
Yes.
I bet you
Wait,
could
Fernando-
block for
Fernando-
1,000 yards too.
Fernando,
But look,
are you in San Diego or LA?
I actually do live in San Diego still, and I make the commute up to Costa Mesa and to Los Angeles. So I do still live in San Diego. I can't
Right.
beat the weather out here. I mean, LA traffic, people hating on each other here, relaxing beach weather,
Oh, gosh, yes.
everything. Why would I leave?
Right. I have a zero carbon estate in Malibu, so I know what you mean. Go ahead, sir.
but I guess what I want to say, Fernando, is with the Chargers, up and coming team, very hot shot young quarterback, all this stuff.
He's
is
been
there more
compared to the
support? Is there more
likes
support
of
now
Bro.
for the team? Because when I saw it, it was not a lot of support.
Well, the problem with the Dignity Sports Health Complex tickets were so expensive. It was like $700 or about like $300 per person. So that didn't help matters. But now there has been a little bit of traction. I mean, everybody thought that the Cowboys were going to absolutely just be 90% Cowboys, 10% Chargers. It was about 65% Cowboys, about, oh my God, my math, 35% Chargers. So they've slowly but surely been gaining more and more love in the city of Los Angeles. It's hard, man. It's hard when LeBron James is here, when the Clippers are doing their thing, when there's other teams here, the Dodgers. It's hard to really put a stamp in it, but the Chargers are trying hard. They have a new, fresh, young quarterback. It's not Phillip Rivers, who came up from San Diego and really didn't embrace the LA culture. It's hey, Justin Herbert's here. He got drafted here. He is now the face, basically, of Los Angeles. So, I mean, he's the face of the Charger organization. Yeah. So, I mean, it does help. It does help having a young quarterback like him, and really the numbers that he's putting up. I mean, fans are excited for him. And obviously, you add in Keenan Allen, you add in Derwin James, you add in Joey Bosa, you add in Mike Williams and Austin Eckler, and there's some more fandom. And then Rashawn Slater as well. So they're starting to gain a little bit more, but it's one of those things that's going to take time. You can't just snap your fingers like Thanos and create all these new fans. So it's going to take some time, but it seems like the Chargers are up to the task of trying to build their fan base up here in LA. But a lot of their fan base is still from San Diego. A lot of the people still make the drive. I'm driving up to the stadium on Sundays, and I see Charger fans right next to me, way down here in San Diego, making the drive up there. So it's a little bit of love from San Diego, and then obviously some love from LA as well.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Justin Herbert.
Yes,
because the official draft, a scouting report on him was, and Joe Burrow was choosing between the two, was a slingy on the brain, right? He slings the ball downfield. Yeah. He likes to just throw the ball. He has a strong arm, but he doesn't know where the ball is supposed to go. He doesn't know. No. He has no plan.
No.
But Joe Burrow, he dissects the defense. But I mean, Justin Herbert's been so much more than that. I mean, he's really, really grown.
He's got sports smarts.
So tell us about his current, status as a quarterback? Where is he? Where would you rank him? Where does he need to go?
I mean, I have him in the top 10 of the NFL. Just the way he's kind of grown from last year to this year. I mean, yeah, obviously last year there was a lot of negative talk on him. And really, I'm going to be completely honest, we didn't get to see him during training camp. We never saw him practice with the first team offense, first team defense. So when he came out against Kansas City and he balled out, we were taken back as well as the media because we never got the only time he ever practiced against the first team. Melvin Ingram picked him off on the first play and ran it back for a pick six. And then Anthony Lynn was like, okay, I've seen enough. I don't need to see more. So it was a rough start, but he really came in. And I mean, having weapons like Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, and Mike Williams helps, but he really has taken it himself and he's kind of rolled with it. If you guys look at it, I think Joe Lombardi is now his sixth offensive coordinator in the last 6 years. Brandon Staley's his fifth head coach in the last 5 years. So there's been a lot of turnover with Justin, and for Justin to be able to succeed in every single offense that he's been in, put up the numbers that he has, it's really impressive. And it helps him, but at the same time, you want to see what the kid can do when he has the same offensive coordinator and the same coach going into the next season. But obviously it's this season. He's really learned how to read defenses. He's learned how to kind of slow down a little bit and not go too fast. So he's really taken command and he's become more of a leader this year. When you heard the guys last year, they said that slowly but surely he was trying to make his way and his voice known. Now he's really become a leader. He's the one that calls the plays, obviously. And he's the one that makes all the calls. And if he wants to check out of stuff, he checks out of it with confidence. So Justin's really taken a huge step forward this season. And like you said, he really got a lot of unfair hate last year coming out in the draft with his personality doesn't fit. He's gonna be a bust. He's this. He's that. It just Justin's different. And that's the thing. The NFL doesn't like different, and Justin's just a different human being. So it was hard for the NFL to really realize what kind of a guy he was, but he really is. He's a good young kid who's just really trying to play quarterback, and he'll let you know. He's like, yeah, I'm just here to play the quarterback position. I'm just here to have fun and obviously try and be the best teammate that I can be. So he says all the right things and he plays well. So that's the most the Chargers can ask for. And then going from Drew Brees to Phillip Rivers to now Justin Herbert is a good indication on how the franchise has done drafting quarterbacks last 3 times.
Well, I mean, look,
Absolutely.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I do like Justin Herbert. I like his style. I see a kind of freewheeling kind of surfer dude throwing the ball kind of thing. But I don't know about the receiving depth on the team. I feel like it's shallow. I feel like that's always been an issue, especially when you compare them to, let's say, I don't know, the Cincinnati Bengals, where we have Jamar Chase, for example, and the other receivers have really stepped up, T. Higgins and others. I mean, it's just been an amazing receiving core. So I think, I mean, yeah, there's quarterback and there's who the quarterback throws to. And I think that's going to be one of the key differences in this game, personally.
Well, sure, we'll
Can
get
you
to predictions.
read my mind? I think you can read my mind.
I was reading it. Yes, I can.
Yeah,
I can.
think
I
you
technically
did,
can. Yeah.
I'm sure you can, because that's been one of the issues that I've pointed out this season about this Chargers team is that they decided to go with Jalen Guyton, who last year was good. He'd have 70-yard touchdown catches. He'd do different things, but he was only good for 1 catch a game. Right. He really doesn't. He really doesn't make more than 1 catch. Josh Palmer, rookie. He's still slowly adapting to the offense. So they've really needed a third receiver. The Raiders game, the Raiders decided to take away Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Everyone else stepped up. Against the Ravens, they did the exact same thing. Nobody else stepped up. Jared Cook didn't step up. It was just the offense had a terrible day. So that's what I've been saying about the team, that they need a third receiver who can really burn them down the field. That's why I said if Devontae Smith would have landed into their lap and Rashawn Slater was already gone, hey, that'd be a good, and people were like, receiver, what are you guys talking about? Hey, a receiver like Devontae Smith with Justin Herbert would have been very good, but obviously they got Rashawn Slater. Rashawn's probably going to be an all-pro or an all-pro rookie this year. He's been a very good left tackle for them, but they are missing that third receiver, and they're missing a second running back. They don't have it.
It takes a QB coach to know these things, and luckily we have a coach who has some experience as a QB coach, and he knew that Jamar Chase was the right pick, despite what the media was saying, and despite all the criticism, he knew that Jamar Chase would make the difference. I mean, we know that as QB coaches. I was a QB coach once. Go ahead, Dadio. Sorry.
I can tell.
Right. But speaking of not having things, Fernando, we over here at the show, we try to be content, but there's a lot that we don't have. And that is why people donate. They donate to the show. And some people have become members. It should be recent membery because we have people who have become members of the show, which you can do when you go to next to the subscribe button. And I didn't know we had members, okay, until I started noticing all this money coming into my bank account. I was like, whoa, what is this? And so, and so we have Natty Jungle, who became a member of the Trey Hendrickson tier last week for $9.99 a month. It is a discounted rate from the Patreon tier of $10 a month. This is $9.99 a month. And so Natty Jungle, obviously been a long-time supporter of the show. We love Natty Jungle.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, Hodgie, you saw him recently.
Well, it is a very interesting story, Dadio, because the thing is, Dadio, how much I have long loved the hosts of the NFL on Fox. Yeah. And it's weird because the thing is,
I love Fox. Well, let me just say, I agree. I love Fox.
And it is not without a touch of guilt.
But
no, I don't love the news. The thing is,
I agree with you. The news is top, fair and balanced. Go ahead.
Until MSNBC has its own NFL coverage, it is what it is. But it's because of my love, really, for Jimmy Johnson, who I've always thought was a great coach. And, of course, best hair in the NFL. So you know how much I love that show. Sometimes I'm watching it literally while we're recording this show. I'm watching reruns. And I just would sit there and listen. And so I was trying out for that show. And I was going to skip. I was honestly going to betray you. And I was going to go from this show to that show. And they were going to have me try out in New York. They flew me out to New York. I got caught up in the parade. I run up to they were going to give me like one hosting gig to see how it goes. And someone is pretending to be me. Now, if you could pull up the picture, I'm like, who is this? They said, this is me. I took this picture. They wouldn't let me through. They said, oh, no, Hodgie, Dr. Hodgie is already here. Dr. Hodgie is already here. I'm like, no, I'm not here. And so then I go up and I start talking to this guy. I started talking around, like, who was it that was trying to replace me? And they're like, oh, his name is, this is Big Louis Kleminski. I'm like, Big Louis Kleminski? Who's Big? It is none other than Natasha Ijungle, i.e., another alias, Natty Jungle, or donor. Yes. He is
amazing detective work, by the way.
A con artist who impersonates me. I call him out. He doesn't get the job, of course. I don't get the job, but we go to that coffee shop where Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David first started their show.
Fictional.
Sitcom. Yeah. We go to that. It's real. And I go to that cafe and we decide, hey, you know what? He's such a good storyteller. We're going to record the pilot about a psychic and a vegan. And I'll be playing the vegan and a con artist played by Natasha Ijungle, Natty Jungle.
Amazing. But we want to say, Natty Jungle, thank you. We love you. Thank you for supporting the show. And Kentucky Ron also with 99 cents a month, the Von Bell tier. We also have the Jamar Chase tier, $4.99. Joe Burrow, $19.99. And the Rick Hawley, who's been an amazing patron. Is such a man of culture and dignity. He supports great, kind of...
works of art.
Yes.
Fungible and non-fungible.
Right. But look, this show is not just about money. We also sometimes talk football. That is why I want John to break down the battle along the offensive and defensive lines where you mentioned, Fernando, Joey Bosa. So,
who's the Bosa?
We know that we're going to have to worry about him. He's not as interesting as his brother, Nick Bosa. We don't know if he's interesting. We don't know that much about him. But
what makes Nick Bosa interesting?
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's very outspoken. He has a lot of...
Yeah. I feel like there's something there. Some sort of Fox News-ish reference that we're not getting.
Right. Okay, so John, please.
Joey Bosa's amazing. He's such a good pass rusher for the Chargers. They played them last year.
He's a great guy. If you guys want to, I had him on my other podcast, Compas on the Beat. It comes out Wednesday. If you guys want to check it out, we talked to Joey Bosa and talked to him about everything. He wants Cincinnati in the top 4 for college football, just FYI.
There we go. A Buckeye, but an Ohio guy by heart. Joey Bosa is amazing. They played them last year
guy.
when they had Melvin Ingram on the other side, and they had an awful time handling Joey Bosa. But that was with an old Bengals offensive line. That was with Jonah Williams playing his first ever game.
And
it's Joey Bosa.
He got into Bobby Hart's face too. Bosa did.
Yeah, it's too. I mean, God, that was an ugly game from up front. It kind of feels like it's just Bosa though for this current iteration of the Chargers defensive line. Bosa's still amazing, but I'm not sure if there is that equivalent to Melvin Ingram on the other edge. And honestly, Fernando, you can back me up here, or counter if I'm wrong. Their defensive tackles are not very good against the run. No. It's a weird de-evolution of that defensive line up front.
Well, I'm sure the doctors read my mind already about what I'm going to say, but it's not very against the Steelers. I'm just going to say there was no Jerry Tillery, no Christian Covington, and those guys were able to hold Najee Harris to 55 yards. And they came back last week, and Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams went off on them. So it hasn't been very pretty. They're hoping that Linval Joseph will be back. He's their best defensive tackle. Then it's Justin Jones. Linval has been on the COVID list, and they expect him to come back maybe this week. And you're right when you say that Joey doesn't have that kind of equal on the other side. It has been it's been Uchenna Nwosu, it's been Kyler Fackrell. They haven't really been able to get going. They've even tried Kenneth Murray, their first-round draft pick, out there. It's been a little bit rough for him too. So that's why they started moving Joey around. So against the Patriots, they went in saying, "Hey, we have a plan. We're going to move you around, possibly put you over the guard, over the center, maybe move you around a little bit." And Joey's like, "Okay, cool, great plan," because they keep on chipping at him. Every single play, the Patriots chipped at Joey, and you could tell Joey was notably frustrated. And they didn't move to the guard. They didn't move him over the guard. And he's like, "Well, what's going on? Like, why didn't we use the play?" So ever since they started using that in the last 4 games, he has a sack in each of those games. And he really has been on a tear. And the only problem is they don't have somebody the opposite side of him. And then it's funny because I saw, obviously everybody watched the Michigan-Ohio State game over the weekend, and some fans were like tweeting at me, "Hey, do you think the Chargers would get one of these pass rushers from Michigan?" I'm like, whoa. The season's not over yet. What are you guys talking about the draft for? Like, not even the Super Bowl's gone by, and we're already looking at the draft. And I'm like, whoa, relax a little bit. But it definitely, Joey is still Joey Bosa. It's just without that other guy on the opposite side of him, it has been a little bit tough for him. But he's trying to find different ways to get there and to make himself get open and be able to hit the quarterback. And like I said, 4 sacks in the last 4 games. So it definitely will be interesting to see kind of how the Chargers try and get Joey open and try and get him to hit Joe Burrow a couple of times.
And just real quick, along those same lines, on the other side of the ball for the Chargers, I don't know what to make of that offensive line. I know Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater are fantastic. Slater, especially for rookie, should probably be in the Rookie of the Year conversation, but we know offensive linemen are never going to get that credit. Other than that, I know there's been some injuries like at guard, and Storm Norton has been, Storm Norton at right tackle. Like, what is the situation there? Has it just been Linsley and Slater just picking up the slack for the other guys?
It really, honestly, I'm going to throw in Matt Filer in there. Matt Filer, that whole left side, when Matt Filer is there, that whole left side has been fantastic for the Chargers. It's the right side that's really hurt them. Storm Norton, Michael Schofield, and it's not, like I've said, it's not their fault. It's just the fact that the Chargers had injuries. They don't have the depth behind them. So it has kind of hurt them in a sense. So, yeah, it's been that right side. I mean, last week, Bradley Chubb lined up over Storm Norton basically the whole game because he knew that that's the way he was going to get in. He probably wasn't going to get in through Rashawn Slater, so he went to the other side, and he got through a couple of times. He didn't really he didn't get a sack or anything, but it has made life hard for Justin Herbert. People are like, why is he throwing? It's been mid-range and kind of like anything from 20 yards down. That's what he's been throwing this season. And people are like, why isn't he going down the field? Well, the thing is, last year he he threw it down the field, but he was taking massive hits. The Chargers do not want those massive hits to be taken by him. So they're like, yeah, no, we're not going to let you take those massive hits. We'll do intermediate routes. We'll do small stuff and kind of build our way up. But I think at one point the Chargers have to really, they have to let it go a little bit and let Justin kind of cook down the field, because it's hurting them at one point where you're looking at the offense and you're kind of like, dude, what's going on? Like, why are you not throwing down the field and letting Justin kind of do what he's been doing? But it's basically because of the offensive line. Like last weekend, Justin took 10 hits, was pressured 19 times, and he was sacked 3 times. So, I mean, and Matt Filer obviously didn't play in that game.
Well, Fernando, how do you
sir.
see the Bengals matchup, the Bengals game against the Chargers playing out? What is
Are you
your
asking me for my prediction?
I'm asking you for your prediction. Yes.
Okay. Well, I see the Cincinnati Bengals winning.
Oh yeah.
On Sunday, but I'm gonna be completely honest though. The Chargers are one of these teams that when I pick them or other people pick them to lose, that's when they play like they've never played before. Like in Spanish, we have a saying that says "Juegan como nunca, pero pierden como siempre." They play like, oh my God, like fantastic, but then they always lose. That's a saying that they have for the Mexican national soccer team. That's what fans have down in Mexico. That's what they say about the national team. So that's kind of how the Chargers are. They could potentially beat the Chiefs and beat the Bengals, but then lose to the Houston Texans, lose to the New York Giants. So they're just a weird team, but I have the Bengals winning. I just think the Bengals right now are in a better position. Their defense is better than I think what people are giving them credit for. The Chargers defense is holding on by the thread of Derwin James and Joey Bosa. If we're being completely honest, the offense obviously has a lot of problems on the offensive. They have some problems on the offensive line. And I just think that right now the Bengals are a well-oiled machine, and I think they're rolling pretty well right now. I knew you'd like that one.
I like it.
What do you think?
I like it a lot.
The score and the player of the game.
Score. Crap. I'll say 34-24 Bengals, and the player of the game, I'll say Jamar Chase, but I think Jamar Chase goes over 1,000 yards in the season. I'll say Joe Mixon goes over 1,000 yards in the season, and then Joe Burrow goes over 3,000 yards for the season, all in this game.
Wow.
No, you know what? I'm not going to go Jamar Chase. I'm going to go Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon, Mixon is he's gonna have a big day for the Bengals, and he's gonna run the ball and run it well. Nixon, whatever you'd like, sir. That's what I'm gonna give you. So, whichever one you'd like to take on that one.
Great. Yes,
John.
Man, I kind of stole the analysis there. Like the Chargers, I think are better than what they've been doing in recent weeks, and I think he's got a point. Whenever we think that they're not going to do so well, they end up surprising people. And of course the Bengals are on the other side of the spectrum right now. They're coming off of a great win. They're still going to be at home. We've seen them not necessarily handle success and hype necessarily well earlier in the season, but now I think you have to hope that they've kind of learned from those mistakes and take it to the next week and play still, I think, a very talented team. Justin Herbert can easily pop off in any one of these weeks. He still has weapons that the Bengals have to account for. I think this game is going to be close. I feel like I've said that for 9 of these 11 games, and most of them have just ended up not being close in favor of the Bengals. But I think the Bengals squeak out a win here. I think something like a 27-24 win.
Did they lose in New York, or did they lose in Cincinnati in that Jets game?
They lost to New York.
New York. Okay.
John, did you say a player of the game?
Not by much.
What if I don't say a player of the game? What are you going to do, Dadio? Why should I make a arbitrary player of the game? Like, what are you going to do to Fernando if Joe Mixon's not the player of the game?
Exactly.
Like why does there have to be a player of the game? Why can't there be multiple? Why can't there just be one side of the ball playing well better than the other? Why can't there just be one team?
There is no player
of
the game in team. Yeah.
John, it sounds like
with that said, Joe Burrow.
You have okay, thank you. Because I was worried. It sounded like you have a problem with a strong leadership and people rising to the top, and it sounded like communism for a second there. But I just wanted to make sure. We're on the okay. But you did succumb to the mandates of the show, and you chose Joe Burrow. Hodgie.
Well, this is a really tough one, and I'll tell you why. Because the Chargers are as unpredictable as the Bengals have been, really. I mean, the Bengals have done better, I think. But if you look at the teams the Chargers have beaten, That's a surprise. And if you look at the teams that have beaten the Chargers, and even in one case, not even allowed them to score, right? The Seahawks didn't even get 1 point against the Seahawks. That's kind of crazy. So it's a weird and unpredictable team. But when I look at the weaknesses of these Chargers, I look at the lack of depth on the receivers. I look at they don't really pose much of a risk to our offensive line. I look at all those factors. And then I look at the momentum that the Bengals have. I think this could be a big win. I think we could be talking, low digits Chargers, maybe 6 points, maybe 3, and high digits Bengals, maybe even in the 30s, let's say 32. And in terms of who's going to be the player of the game, I always say the same one, because he's the king of our heart, Dadio, Evan McPherson, the kicker who came from somewhere. That's what they call him. And he, in fact, chose his name, his nickname. His new nickname is, Mac. What was it? Hold on. He
Mikey
chose his
Mac?
nickname.
Yeah.
No. He just chose a nickname for himself. He did
which you cannot do. It's not how that works.
But John, what was it? I don't remember.
Hey, the Chargers kicker tried to do the same thing. He called himself the Money Badger, and look, now he's on the Colts. So yeah, you don't pick your own. You don't pick your own nicknames. You
What
have
if
them.
What if
You're
already
baptized as with your nickname.
What if you've already kicked 10 50-yard field goals and you're only like 17 years old? I mean, the guy's amazing.
Crazy leg.
Yeah. Well, if you want to know my prediction, guys, I would say, and I'm going to be honest, like Fernando, it's going to be a close game for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, no.
Really? No, it is. It is. But I do think that they will ultimately prevail in the end, 37-13.
Okay.
Yes. That's what I see happening.
Is that a missed field goal? Missed extra point you're imagining?
No, I think that they get a couple of field goals. Yeah.
Okay.
So you
The
guys
player
are
of the
both
game,
predicting-
Dadio?
You guys are
I'm
both
sorry?
predicting low points. Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Fernando.
No, that's not on me. I'm not the one taking the field. I mean,
But
I'll
it
take
will
the
be a close
I'll
game
take
for
the
the
paycheck,
Bengals.
but I won't take
I will
on the
be-
field.
I respect the Chargers, and I respect Justin. I do. But I'm looking at the trends, and I'm looking the way. Like, if you look at the teams they've not done well against,
Yeah.
they didn't do. I think they didn't do well against the Ravens, and they didn't do very well against the other teams. I think even the Pittsburgh Steelers, they played them recently, and it was a close game. They won, but I think it was pretty close.
Yeah.
So,
But if you're wondering what I mean when I say it will be a close game for the Bengals, I'm of course referring to the fact that they will be playing in Cincinnati, which is pretty close to where they live. That is what I meant.
Right. Right. Now, Daddy, let me ask you a question. Who's the player of the game for you?
Player of the game. I think Jamar Chase is due to have another big game. I think
is
Jamar
due.
Chase does it.
That man can do everything. He can block. He can run. I am amazed
Yeah.
by Jamar Chase. Did you see
I am
him?
too.
He's got so many moves.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed that we don't get to see Asante Samuel Jr. versus Jamar Chase. That would have been a fun matchup.
Absolutely.
It would have, yeah.
But Fernando, you know what else is a fun matchup?
Uh-oh.
It is when with the numbers of your bank account
Hold your wallet, Fernando.
line up with a deposit made by a patron.
He's
It's a
holding out.
robot that automatically pays you. And you can go to patreon.com/dhsports to support us. And thank you, Courtney. And you can go there. You can become a member. Because really, what do we have but other than each other and our money? And what keeps us doing this and seeing each other during these holiday seasons? We want to spend times with our loved ones other than money. Really, it's all there is.
He's the Scrooge who never learned his lesson.
In fairness, today is Giving Tuesday, so
There you go. It is Giving Tuesday. And you can give in so many ways. We don't care how you give. We don't care how much you give.
I do need
Just
the
do
new
it
mic.
consistently. Yes.
And it's the best time of the year, the time of giving. So yeah, I understand what you guys are talking about.
Thank you, Fernando.
If you love the show, show the love.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
And so you can go to iTunes or wherever, 5-star review. You can subscribe here, turn on notifications, become a member. You can do super chat. I love the super chats. I love the
Upvote.
super chats.
Leave
I would say
comment.
this: the super chat is the opposite of
What is the
supersizing.
super chat? What is the super
So
chat?
when you supersize, you're getting
Okay.
you pay like 5 more cents, and you get like 5 times the taco, which I would only recommend doing at the new Chargers Stadium. I wouldn't do it at the old Chargers Stadium.
I wouldn't eat at the Charger Stadium if I was you guys.
But
You're not gonna have a fart buffer except on the plane. Never sit next to this man on a plane. He thinks when the plane goes up in the air, no one can hear his farts. We can hear them.
yes, but so that is what you get. But here the super chat means you are getting charged for chatting. It is a terrible deal. But somehow we have all these people, Rick Hawley, Razmataz, they're just paying to chat. They don't know they can chat for free, apparently. They're paying for the super chat. So that's what the super chat is.
I think you've gotten something wrong, but I can't figure it out.
Definitely go to Believe in Chargers and subscribe.
Yes.
And Lorenzo Neal and Fernando Ramierz are the hosts. It's an amazing show, insightful, funny, fun, entertaining, engaging. All the other words. And just do that, and you can go to his Sports Illustrated, and you can follow him on Twitter. And that is it. That is all we have for this show.
Wonderful.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
We appreciate having you on the show, Fernando.
For Fernando Ramierz and John Sheeran and Dr. Hodgie Electric Smoji, I'm Dadio Duke. We will see you next time. So long. Sviti Pies.